In the heart of the lush, vibrant African village of Nsombo, the sounds of rhythmic drumming filled the air as villagers went about their daily tasks. Children laughed as they played near the river, while elders gathered under the large baobab tree, sharing stories from the past. Nsombo was a place rich in tradition, where every carved mask, every hand-woven cloth, and every word spoken carried the weight of heritage and honor. Among the people of Nsombo lived Kwame, a young man of incredible talent. Known throughout the village for his skill in wood carving, Kwame's hands had created some of the most intricate and revered sculptures in the region. His work wasn't just art, it was a representation of the village's soul, and his pieces were often sought by nearby chiefs and wealthy patrons from faraway lands. But despite his growing reputation, Kwame remained grounded, deeply in tune with the values of his people. Recently, Kwame had found love in the arms of Zara, a woman as strong in spirit as she was in kindness. Zara was a healer, known for her knowledge of herbs and her ability to calm even the most restless of souls. The two were inseparable, walking through the village together, sharing dreams of the future, and discussing the family they hoped to build. Zara's presence brought Kwame peace. She was the anchor that kept him connected to the earth, to the traditions that had shaped him. Together, they represented a love rooted in respect, loyalty, and the shared rhythm of their people's heartbeat. However, the winds of Nsombo carried more than just the scent of flowers in bloom. They also brought with them a whisper from the past. It was on a particularly quiet afternoon, while Kwame was working in his workshop, that the stillness was broken by the return of someone he never expected to see again. Amma, his first love. Amma had always been different. Where Zara embodied the quiet strength of the village, Amma had been wild, passionate, and restless. She was beautiful, with eyes that held 1,000 stories and a spirit that was never content to stay in one place. Years ago, Amma had left Nsombo without a word, abandoning Kwame and the life they had begun to build together. She had been drawn to the city, to the promise of something more, something that the quiet life of the village couldn't offer. Kwame had been left heartbroken, but over time he had healed, thanks in no small part to Zara's steady presence. But now here she was, standing at the entrance of his workshop, her eyes burning with the same intensity he remembered. She was dressed in a modern gown, a striking contrast to the traditional attire of the villagers, and she carried herself with the confidence of someone who had seen the world. "Kwame," she said, her voice soft but commanding. "It's been a long time." Kwame's heart skipped a beat, but not in the way it used to. This wasn't the excitement of young love, it was confusion, uncertainty. What was Amma doing here? Why had she come back after all this time? Amma didn't waste any time with small talk. She spoke of her travels, of the things she had seen, and the people she had met. She had found success in the city, but something had always been missing. She had come to realize that the life she had left behind, the love she had left behind, was what she truly needed. "I made a mistake, Kwame," Amma confessed, stepping closer. "I should never have left you. I want to come back. I want us to start over." Kwame was stunned. For a moment he could see the fire in Amma's eyes, the same fire that had once drawn him to her. But then his mind returned to Zara, to the woman who had been there for him through everything, who had never abandoned him. How could he betray her now? Zara soon learned of Amma's return. The village was small and news traveled quickly. When she confronted Kwame, she did so with grace, though her heart ached with fear. "Kwame," she said softly, "I know Ama is back, but I need to know where your heart truly lies. You have a choice to make. I won't force you to stay, but I need to know if what we have is real, or if you still long for the past." Kwame was torn. He spent days wandering through the village, seeking advice from the elders, praying at the sacred tree, and reflecting on the life he had built with Zara. But at the same time, memories of his time with Ama haunted him. She had been his first love, after all, the one who had shown him the meaning of passion and desire. Ama, for her part, was relentless. She visited Kwame every day, reminding him of the dreams they once shared, of the future they had imagined before she left. She spoke of a life beyond the village, of opportunities and adventures they could have together. But Zara didn't back down either. She didn't fight with Ama or try to compete for Kwame's affection. Instead, she reminded Kwame of the life they had already begun to build, the life rooted in tradition, in family, in the soil of Nsombo. In the end, Kwame realized that his heart no longer belonged to the Ama of the past. His love for Zara was deeper than passion. It was a love built on trust, respect, and shared values. He knew that choosing Ama would be chasing after a memory, a fleeting dream that had already passed. On the final day, as the sun set over the village, casting long shadows on the ground, Kwame stood before Ama and Zara. The entire village seemed to be watching, holding its breath as he spoke. "Ama," he began, his voice steady, "you were my first love, and for that you will always have a place in my heart. But I have changed. My life has changed. The man I am now. I can't go back to what we had. My heart belongs to Zara. She has been my rock, my partner, and my future. I'm sorry." Ama's eyes filled with tears. "I'm sorry." Ama's eyes filled with tears, but she nodded, understanding that the time for their love had passed. Without another word, she turned and walked away, leaving the village behind for good this time. Kwame took Zara's hand, and together they faced the future. A future rooted in love, loyalty, and the traditions of their people.